Let's get ready to rumble!
This bout is scheduled for 12 rounds for the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World. And now to the millions watching on ESPN and around the world, this is boxing, this is Top Rank, and this is the main event. Our judges at ringside, Dave Moretti, Patricia Morris-Jarman, and Benoit Roussel. And the man in charge at the sound of the bell, Mr. Tony Weeks. Introducing first out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 147 pounds, wearing white trunks with red and blue trim. He brings a record of 39 wins, only 2 defeats, 27 of those victories coming by way of knockout. The former welterweight world champion from Sheffield, England, the special one. Introducing out of the red corner. He weighed in at 146.4 pounds, wearing black trunks with gold trim. He brings a perfect record, 36 wins, no defeats, 27 victories coming by way of knockout. The former lightweight world champion, the former undisputed junior welterweight world champion, the reigning, defending WBO welterweight world champion, the pound for pound king from Omaha, Nebraska, Terrence Bud Crawford.
There we go. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times, above all, protect yourself at all times. Let's go.
Terrence Crawford again fighting not just an opponent, but the critics. Once, and he had titanium fused to his orbital bones twice. Now he's refreshed. Can he do what no other fighter has, what 36 have failed at? We find out now. Round number 1, and Dre, I offer you this. Among all the analysis of what could happen in this fight that gives Kell Brook hope is that Bud Crawford at times has been a slow starter. In fact, Dre, the fight we did against Egis Kaviaskis, Egis outlanded Crawford total punches over the course of the first 3 rounds. What should be Brook's approach early on?
Well, he can't get reckless, but he needs to start fast, start picking up that jab. I think Brook is realizing right now that Terrence Crawford is a lot longer than he realized, and the space between, where he is now and actually hitting Crawford is a lot further than he realized. But yes, coming off 11-month layoff, being, a slow starter historically, the first few rounds, Brook wants to win those. But it looks like Brook is playing Crawford's game now. He's watching, he's studying, and I don't think he can outthink Crawford. He's got to start to let those hands go as he comes behind that left hand.
See, Brook thinks his timing. That's his thing. He wants to time Crawford on the way in.
You know, Brook also has a great jab, a sharp jab, a strong jab. And you can see Terrence Crawford trying to figure out how he can land his jab without getting hit. Another thing, Crawford typically comes out in the southpaw stance, but he came out in the right-handed stance, probably to confuse Kell Brook.
He has power in either hand, Crawford. He has finished guys, whether it is orthodox or southpaw. But in recent years, we have seen plenty of Crawford, mostly in the southpaw stance, and wildly effective in doing so. Here he comes out as a righty. And there is that jab from Kell Brook as he goes to the body against the champ.
Brook jabbing extremely well right now, not just to the head, but as you just saw, also to the body.
There he throws the right hand behind him.
Brook has a brilliant 1-2. It's automatic. It's his favorite combination, but his jab right now is landing.
He just scored with it accurately upstairs against Crawford.
And that's what it's about. It's about breaking the timing and the rhythm of Terrence Crawford. And you have to do that with your jab. Set it up. The power hand, which is the right hand for Brook.
Crawford looking to close that gap as he goes southpaw for a moment, doubles up the right hand jab, and then comes with a left. Good exchange here as he switches back to righty. Fascinating first round. Gonna take a short break. Really landed 6 of them.
Look, timing is what Kell Brook is special at. You know, he has a 69-inch reach. You have to understand that. He has the shorter arms in this matchup, but he knows when to throw his jab, and at the right time, at the right distance, and at the right speed.
Funny to say that he doesn't have the reach. I mean, just look at the size advantage. Look at the size across the shoulders, across the back. Look at the muscles popping in the upper body of Kell Brook, and the base he has as well, that foundation with the legs.
And see, what I noticed is that Kell Brook is taking a page out of Egis Kalayaskis. He's being patient. He's waiting. He's looking to counter Crawford. He's trying to get Crawford to commit so he can make him pay.
Jab is giving Crawford a lot of problems right now. You see him thinking, and Brook is doing the right thing. He's jabbing. That's the most important thing he can do right now because it sort of keeps him out of danger. It helps him to kind of create his range and where he wants to let his shots go, and it's also got Crawford thinking. The fight's going to get interesting if Crawford is able to make adjustments. I've seen Brook have a great plan A. He's got a great boxing ability, but when fights get deep and there's time to make adjustments, like in the Spence fight, I don't see him make that adjustment. We've seen Crawford do it in the past. He's going to have to do it right now because plan A, Brook has the advantage.
Spence fight happened in May of 2017. That was the last time Brook fought at this 147-pound limit. He was fighting brilliantly, and then Spence got to him with the power and scored an 11th round TKO with a broken left orbital bone suffered.
You also want to see how Brook takes the shots of Crawford as he starts to land clean, flush shots.
Right now it's a battle of patience. Neither fighter can afford to make a mistake, and as you see, Brook stepped in just a tad bit, and Terrence had combinations waiting on him.
Just fired off a right uppercut, did Kell Brook.
Brook has every punch in his arsenal. He has a strong left hook. He also has a straight right hand and a beautiful uppercut. And as you can see, his jab is giving Terrence Crawford problems, and Terrence goes southpaw.
Crawford switches for one of two reasons. Either he sees something or what he was doing in the right-handed stance wasn't working.
What do you suspect here, Dre?
I think the latter is true. The right-handed stance wasn't working, and he wants to see if he can get something going from the left-handed stance.
Stop. No.
And a 2 in Vegas. Into CompuBox, Bud Crawford opponents land just 21% of their total punches. That is #1 in the world among welterweights. So far tonight, Kell Brook is landing 36% of his punches against Terrence Crawford.
So don't think that Kell Brook is worried about Terrence Crawford going southpaw. He's not worried about that at all because he's used to that. He comes from the Ingles gym. He's used to seeing switch hitters in his gym, guys that switch from orthodox to southpaw. It's nothing to him.
You mentioned the Ingle gym. That is the veteran British trainer Dominic Ingle, who has trained Kell Brook since the start of his career. But Ingle opted out of this world title fight due to COVID concerns because Kell Brook trains in the Canary Islands for training camp. Ingle did not want to travel and then have to quarantine nor come to the United States. So instead, Carlos Formento is the trainer in the corner of Kell Brook. First time they've ever worked together.
I'll tell you one thing that the southpaw stance has done. It's taken the jab away from Kell Brook. You see he's not landing his jab consistently anymore.
Well, when Crawford turns southpaw, he's not even throwing.
That's what happens. That's what turning southpaw does. But it does allow you to land a right hand like Brook just landed on Crawford right now.
A right hand can be the best weapon against the southpaw. And of course, when he is in that lefty stance, you will see that right hand of Bud Crawford, as it is right now, hanging right over the front of Kell Brook.
Listen, Crawford has the reach advantage, but he's going to have to close the distance on Kell Brook. He told us in the build-up to this fight that Brook can't fight mid-range and in close. Right now, Brook is winning the battle from the outside. Crawford's got to slowly start to close their space.
There's that right lead again. Kell Brook, minute to go here in round 3. Pretty good start for the challenger, the former IBF welterweight champion. A guy who says he's rejuvenated. 3 fights since he lost the welterweight championship to Errol Spence.
That's how Errol Spence had success against Brook. He closed the distance and started to bully Kell Brook. He started to fight him in close. Brook fought back valiantly, but he really didn't have any answers for that.
Crawford having his moments there.
And see some swelling already. Some swelling already on the right eye of Terrence Crawford in the right hand, right down the middle, and it just lands for Kell Brook.
And there's a right hand from Crawford.
Way to answer that right hand.
In the sport, Shakur Stevenson saying he expects his good friend Terrence Bud Crawford to pick up the pace here. CompuBox has Kell Brook 24 of 99 punches, Crawford 25 of 93. Shakur Stevenson will fight December 12th in this ring against Toka Khan Cleary. Shakur, the recent featherweight champion, now contending at 130 pounds, looking for a showdown for a belt here. Round number 4.
Crawford has to continue to get his lead foot outside the lead foot of Brook to have success with his offense. That will put him in a safe position to let his combinations go. Beautiful right hand.
And the champ gets to him. Just like that. Terrence Bud Crawford hits the gas.
7. Hey, come to me, come to me. You all right? Yeah, give you a chance.
One of the best closers in the game. 27 knockouts in his career. Do we have 28 right here?
This fight is also
thundering in. Look at Crawford. Vicious attack to close it.
No.
And he stares at.
As you can see, Kell Brook was moving forward. He shot a jab out there. Crawford timed it over the top with a nice, short, I would say jab. Hook. Jab, hook type.
That's the first knockdown. Remember, the ropes held him up.
Boom.
It's that look in his eye.
At this point, the fight was as good as done because Terrence Crawford is one of the best finishers in the game. You can't be hurt like that against Crawford, especially knowing that he had a slow start. He wants to come in here and prove a point and remind everybody why he's atop that list, and that's how you do it. Once again, to your point, Tim, it's not a 3 or 4 round fight. It's a 12-round fight or less. And I wanted to see the reaction from Kell Brook once Terrence Crawford landed a clean shot and we got our answer.
PM Grand, referee Tony Weeks calls a halt to this bout at 1 minute, 14 seconds of round number 4. Declaring your winner by technical knockout and still WBO welterweight champion of the world, Terrence Bud Crawford!
Terrence Crawford, folks, is 37-0 with 28 knockouts. He's the number one pound-for-pound fighter. He's the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the time. And then we will hear from him how he finishes. Chopping right, driving left, driving left. See ya, Mr. Brook. Head back to Sheffield, England. Take your $2 million. And it was this from the southpaw stance of Terrence Bud Crawford, the short right hand, that little hook that started the end of things in devastating fashion. Terrence Crawford, after a calculated spot, puts on the power show, and now he's with Bernardo.
All right, Terrence Crawford.
You know, he had good distance, you know, and I was trying to find my rhythm in between, you know, getting my distance together. And, you know, that's why it was so competitive at first. I couldn't get my shots off.
What adjustments were you able to make to finally get to, Kell Brook?
Well, you know, just step forward a little more, throw a little more punches, but not too much. And I caught up with him a couple of times.
I know that you always talk about having to excel the expectations for you. Well, you did tonight because it took Errol Spence 11 rounds to beat him, and you did it in 4. Does that mean anything to you?
Not at all. You know, it was different fights, you know, different, years and whatnot, but Kell's a tremendous talent. I can't take nothing away from him. He came and he tried to take my title. He was in shape. He made the weight. So there was no excuses to be put on the table. He just came off of 3 wins, not coming off of a loss. So he had his confidence up, and he lost to the better man tonight.
You've been clear. The names you want are Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence. How do you make that happen?
Let me tell you something, and I mean this. Spence and Garcia are fighting December 5. If they really want to make a big pay-per-view, I'll put Terrence Crawford in with both of them, one at a time, and he beat both of them the same night. He is far and away the best welterweight in the world. He goes back to the great welterweights like Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. He would have been competitive with them. The welterweights around now are not competitive with Terrence Crawford.
And Bob, you know that what made that era great is that everybody fought everybody, and you were able to make the fights with the heavyweights, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, twice. Will we see Bud in the ring with Errol Spence in the near future?
Errol Spence will try to avoid Terrence Crawford as long as he can because he knows he can't beat Terrence Crawford. You saw the performance tonight. I mean, he'll take out Errol Spence in about the same number of rounds like he took out Kell Brook.
Now, we all want to see that fight. I know you want that fight. There was a lot written this week. Where are you, Terrence, in terms of your future?
Well, I'm looking to secure a Pacquiao fight. You know, we was close to securing a Pacquiao fight prior to this fight, but being that the COVID, you know, was getting out of hand, the fans couldn't attend the fight, so we had to put a halt to it, and that's when we decided to go with Kell Brook. He was the next available known welterweight that was available to fight. So now we're gonna go back to the drawing board and try to revisit that fight with Manny Pacquiao.
We all know that with Pacquiao, it's money. Bob, is it all there for this fight to finally happen in 2021? I know Terrence has wanted it, you wanted it.
The money was there. It had been committed. It was a fight that was going to take place in a country in the Mideast. And then the Minister of Health in that country said, you can't do it because I can't guarantee that we'll allow spectators, and it would have been this week. So he was right. Now they've called us and they said if Terrence is successful, we want to resume the talks and see if we can do it in the spring, either before or after Ramadan.
Looks like we're going to the Middle East.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, Terrence. Thank you very much, Bob. Joe, back to you.
Middle East to call a Bud Crawford fight. Right now, Mark Kriegel is with Kell Brook.
Kell, thank you very much for a game performance. You looked real good, and all of a sudden, what happened?
This is boxing. I obviously got caught with a shot I didn't see, and the referee waved it off. You know, that's never happened to me before, but I've always said if I'm in a fight and I'm going to lose, you know, I'm going to go out on my shield. And, you know, the referee obviously seen that I couldn't continue, so the fight is over, you know. So I don't like to lose on an injury and stuff like that. You know, if I'm going to lose, then I'd rather lose out on my shield, you know. The better man won tonight.
Kel, you've been in there with the best in the world. You've been in there with the very best of the welterweight division. You've been in with Spence, Triple G, Sean Porter. What was different, or was anything different, about Terence Crawford?
You know, you know, I can't, even though I've been beat by him, I can't sit here now and say Spence, like he'd beat Spence, he'd beat Porter, because styles make fights. You know, but one thing he has got good distance, and he's got fast stands obviously, and he's got a good eye, you know, to land a shot, you know. So it'd be very interesting, you know. He's definitely, you know, because that's never in my career, nobody's ever done that to me in sparring or anything, you know. So obviously it's different with 8-ounce gloves on, but it was one of them, you know. I got caught with a shot I didn't see, and you know, the fight's over. I'm gutted, you know, because I am. Nobody could have got me in a better condition. I was bang on the limit on the scale. I felt great, you know. Maybe you know, the problem would have probably been me. I could have been a bit more relaxed and, you know, been a bit more loose and let the shots have got off more, and then I would have got into my rhythm, believe it or not. But the fight's gone the way it has, and that is that.
Look, you look pretty good. You came in shape, obviously. You faced them both. What's the difference between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford?
They're both really good, you know. Even though, you know, I've got nothing against any of them, you know. I couldn't really sit here now and say, because I've seen that much of boxing, I know that styles make fights, and they've been brought up the traditional ways in how to box from, you know, in America. They know exactly how to teach how to box in every style. You know, in Britain we're a bit, you know, behind the times, so, you know, it's a bit different. But I think that'd be I think that's the fight to make. You know, I can't actually, you know, even though he's stopped me tonight, Terence, I can't sit here and say he would do that to Spence or he'd beat Spence. You know, it'd be a fight still that everyone needs to see.
I understand that, but you're rich in experience and talent, and you saw something in him. You wanted this fight. How was it different? What was distinct about his style that you didn't figure on?
I think his timing is great, and you know, I was looking across, and I did have a little bit of success, but for some reason I didn't feel comfortable to let my hands pop for some reason, you know, and that's what he made me do. You know, I've seen great fighters come out, and I've seen him in different fights and they chucking lots of shots, and I've seen him with certain fighters and they don't even chuck many shots that round or in the fight, because that fighter makes them do that. He obviously made me do that, and you know, he comes out, his stance, everything else. It's a funny one, it's an hard one, but he's a great talent, I'll tell you. You know, he's obviously a great talent.
Kel, thank you. You've always been a great champion, great fighter. Appreciate what you brought tonight. Joe, back to you.
Got to have respect for Kell Brook for the challenges he has taken on. Sports Center is coming up in just a moment, but we're not going anywhere. We have complete coverage of everything here with Terence "Bud" Crawford and his TKO victory. Sports Center coming up in a moment. You heard the Hall of Famer Bob Arum say this guy's in the class of Sugar Ray, of Tommy Hearns, of Hagler, the greats from the 80s. More to come. Sports Center coming up next.